Welcome to the Fancy Football League podcast. I'm your host, Aiden, and today I'm joined by my fellow toilet bowl enjoyer, Totally Offensive, also known as Started from the Top, now she's here, also known for still having the 6th most points in the league. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, and we're starting back on week 11, which was the last time I won. I have 3 wins to my name, I think is what the reality is. And
it hasn't been a great year, but
no,
you do have a lot of points, so you just got really, really unlucky. Like, you have more points than someone that has 7 wins, so yeah, just how it goes, I guess.
Oh well.
Before we hop into the weeks, obviously it's been a couple weeks, so we're going to cover all of that. But this podcast covers the coveted Fancy Football League, our fantasy football league with 10 of our friends, as we go through the year and ultimately find out who is worthy of the crown. We will have trials and tribulations that will all be covered here, so strap in and spread those eyeballs because you're about to witness the best fantasy football coverage you've ever seen. Today, we're going to cover everything that happened in week 11, 12, and 13 within the league and preview the matchups for next week. This episode is going to be a lot quicker. Typically, the episodes take like about 6 hours, I would say, of work, just editing, because like a lot of graphics and stuff. So I'm going to simplify this one, and we're just going to very quickly go through the weeks, and we're going to go team by team, just essentially record-wise, how they did. And then after we do all that, we'll talk more about their matchups this coming week. So first up, we can go over your team. So, yeah, week 11, you mentioned it. Your team went off. You had a ton of points, and you won the game. But then in week 12 and week 13, you did lose, sadly. Some pretty tragic losses. Your team still got over 100 points, but, yeah, just tough matchups. I mean, if you played, I think the people that I played, I think you would have won. So, yeah, sucks to be out of the playoffs, but I mean, I definitely do think you're going to be fine in the toilet bowl. You'll probably...
I think I'm winning the toilet bowl, which means I'll be 12th, correct?
No, yeah, if you win it. But I don't know. I think your team is good enough that once you actually play the bad teams, you're going to win one of these games, I think. So we'll actually see, but I mean, you might play me at this
Yeah, actually, I do have more points than you.
And we could just go straight into mine because I also went 1 and 2. So we both went 1 and 2. I didn't score a lot of points though, like you. I got pretty lucky with my only win. I won with 94 points somehow. But yeah, it's been a pretty tough stretch, we'll say that. I've been continuously like underperforming what my team is supposed to do, and I think your team has kind of been doing that, but you're still scoring like a decent amount of points. My team's just not doing good. So yeah, now we're essentially both out of the playoffs. I have a very slim way. I feel like Paul Atreides. I have a narrow path to victory. I need the 4, 6, and 7 teams to all lose, and I also need to score 77 more points than Pawninq. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to score 77 more points than Pawn. So, I think I lost. And I on top of that, I also need to score 30 more points than Brooke. So, I would need like a miracle. I'd need to score like 180 points this week. So, yeah, that's
anything's possible.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're both out of the playoffs. We're both fighting for the toilet bowl. That definitely sucks. But we did have some big changes at the top of the leaderboard. We'll just say that. There's been some crazy swings, and the first place team is RickNolle, who has gone 3-0 the last 3 weeks, and they're on a 5-game winning streak. So they've been crushing it. I had to feel their wrath last week, but he's been scoring like an insane amount of points. I know you've been talking to him too, and he's super excited as the 1 seed. He doesn't have it locked up yet, though. There's a chance Jen could pass him. I think it would be unlikely, but there is a chance that Jen and RageAgainstWeirdos could pass him for the bye. But that said, I think Rick is probably going to get a bye. So, yeah. Good. It's good for him. But, yeah, definitely some brutal swings because Rick went 3-0 the last 3 weeks and he's on a 5-game winning streak. But Rage Against Weirdos is also on a 5-game winning streak and also has gone 3-0 the last 3 weeks. And his team, he has the most points by 200 points almost. I guess 130. Crazy. And he got really unlucky earlier in the year, so I was kind of expecting this to happen. I mean, his team is stacked. He just has a ton of points. He did get lucky 2 weeks ago, but he did manage to pull out the win. So that's all that matters. And now he's looking like he's going to be the 2 seed. If he wins, he gets the 2 seed. There's no chance Jen can pass him for points. But
wow.
If Jen wins and he loses, then Jen would pass him for the bye. So there's really, it's who is going to be the top 2. That's the big change. And obviously Jen's team has had a huge tragedy. She was on fire, and we actually haven't done the podcast for 3 weeks, and I think that's the curse. So I think she's probably going to win this week, turn it around, because she's lost the last 3 weeks. She was 9-1, and now she's 9-4. So out of those 3 teams, what do you think, Mom? Who do you think is going to take home the top 2 seeds?
Wow. It's hard to know. I feel like it could be Rick and Jen, but Rage Against Weirdos has been in there too. So,
well, you would have to win because you are playing Rage Against Weirdos this week. So,
yeah, and I'm already. And you know what's weird is almost every week I've been scheduled to win, not by a lot, but I've been scheduled to win, and then I lose. So this week I'm scheduled to lose. So I think I'll really lose this week.
Or you'll win. I thought that's what you were going to say.
No, yeah, that's possible.
I mean, you did beat Jen before her losing streak recently, but there's definitely a chance. I'll just say that.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. But it is, I do think Jen's team is still good, but some people have been underperforming. Debo, specifically, hasn't been doing well at all. I think she even benched him because he's been doing so bad. So overall, though, I think she definitely still has a chance to win it all. It's really going to come down to who does well in the playoffs, you know? Like maybe Rick's team is peaking too early, maybe Rage Against Weirdos' team is peaking too early, and someone else is going to ramp up in the playoffs. Yeah, take over. So we'll see. Now, the next 2 teams, there's 2 7-6 teams, and they're kind of both on similar trajectories. MMC Grath is 0-3 the last 3 weeks, and KMoneyTheRich is 2-1. So I guess, no, I thought KMoneyTheRich was on a losing streak, but he actually has won 2 of the last 3 games. So I think the last time we talked about him on the podcast, he was on a 5-game losing streak. So it is good that he's kind of getting some wins. And MMC Grath has gotten pretty unlucky, but he also didn't have a lot of points the last 3 weeks. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one to come back from. I think he is likely to make the playoffs no matter what, though, because he would essentially need to get pretty unlucky with the 6 and 7 teams to not make the playoffs. But what do you think is going to happen there? Do you think both of them are going to make the playoffs, both 7 and 6 teams?
Well, boy, the thing is, you have 3 people below them that are 6 and 7.
4.
I'm sorry.
4 people.
4 people that are 6 and 7. And if any of them win, I'm trying to see who has. Well, Pawn has is up there with MC McGrath in terms of points. So
yeah, but that's the only one, really.
Yeah, so I guess so. So Pawn still has.
It's super simple for both of them. If they win, they're in. But there is a chance both of them don't make it. I think MMC Grath would have to get really unlucky because K Money and Pawn would both have to win, and then Brooke would also have to win and get 40 more points. So that's definitely possible. It's just they would have to do really good. And yeah, I'm not sure those teams have been performing that well. I think Brooke is the most likely one to do it, but I don't know. I think MMC Graf is going to pull out a win this week. He's been on a 3-game losing streak. I have a feeling he's going to turn it around and get to 8-6, but yeah, it's coming down to the wire. The final week before the playoffs.
And you also have Danbledore and you have Troy too.
Yeah, I guess we can go over those 6 and 7 teams because Pawn went 2-1 the last 3 weeks. Brooke went 2-1 the last 3 weeks, and then Tack went 1-2, and Danbledore went 1-2. So yeah, I guess to trends, it looks like Brooke or Pawn is going to make it. It's really the hard thing is that obviously Pawn has the most points, but he has to win. And I mean, who is he playing? He's playing. I forget who he's playing actually. Let me take a look.
Pawn?
Pawn is playing.
He's playing Tack. He's playing.
He's playing.
Oh no, I'm on the wrong
Naples.
week. Sorry.
Yeah, he's playing Jim. So I think that one, if Pawn wins, that kind of does push away all the other contenders because I think it would be really hard for them to get more than 47 points. Like Brooke would have to win and get 47 more points than Pawn.
Wow. Yeah.
So that would just be very hard. And if Pawn wins, I would say Dan is like 100% eliminated, and then Tack is almost certainly out as well. So it really comes down to Pawn. If Pawn loses to Naples, then there's a chance for everyone. I mean, even me.
Wishful
why'd
thinking.
you laugh at that? I don't. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's going to take a miracle, though. We'll say that.
And this is the last week before the playoffs, correct?
Yes, it is. It's the last week.
The playoffs will be either for the Toilet Bowl, which is the last place team, and then the other one would be the winner. Yeah,
so it's coming down to the wire right now. Like, we're going to find out who is really worthy of the crown and who is worthy of the poop emoji. So I'm excited for that. After this week, it's going to really come down to, there's only one team we haven't talked about yet, and that's Naples, who actually has been doing pretty good. He's 2-1 the last 3 weeks on a 2-game winning streak. He did get Christian McCaffrey back for those weeks, but now he lost Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, so he's had a hard season.
He's had a really hard season. He has some good talent. He still has Nick Chubb, who's coming back, who's actually getting, like, I would say he's the starter right now. Zach Charbonnet could start the game. Calvin Ridley has been doing really good, and also I guess Mike Evans is coming back. So he does have some talent. It's just he's gotten so unlucky, and then he also has Derrick Henry on bye this week. So yeah, it's not looking good. We'll say that. Yeah. But I still think he could win this week and beat Pawn. I think it would be unlikely, but I don't know. I'm very curious. I think this is going to be a pretty fun week to see how everything plays out. I wish I was kind of more in the thick of it. Like, if I had one more win, I'd be right there. It really sucks to lose to Rick last week, but he just destroyed me. So,
and he's done that the last season too, right?
Yeah, he's beat me, I think, 4 times the last 2 years, and we've only played 4 times, so he's beat me every single time. And last year, his team, I had a much better record when he did it, so it was like kind of like funny, like, wow, I can't beat him. Like, I'm still winning, but like I can't beat him. Now it sucks because I needed to win. So now it definitely sucks. It stings more. But I can't beat Jim or Rick. So oh well, what can I do?
I'll have to just make sure they still are in next year so that they can
keep beating me.
Yeah.
Keep me humble? Is that what you're...
Exactly. So they can keep you humble.
All right. Well, Cole, are there any last thoughts on the last 3 weeks? Anything you wanted to mention about
just that there's been some players who have had really high scoring in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I think the funniest was Tack last week. Had Jameis Winston and Jerry Jeudy on on Monday night, and
he had like 170 points.
Yeah, and that
Winston
was all
got
from Monday night.
39.
No, he got 40. He got 40 something.
And here it says 38.98. So.
Oh, am I wrong? I thought
Judy got 43.50, right. But then he has McLaurin who got 27.30, and Burrow was on his bench. On his bench, he still got a couple people who had really high scores.
Yeah.
So,
but he got 82 points. Yeah.
I have 100
on Monday night. So.
Oh wow. That's crazy. Man.
But pretty crazy. Pretty crazy week for Tack. And I know it stings because MC Grath needed the win, and he thought he was going to win. And then Jameis and Jerry Jeudy had the game of their life. So I guess we can go into your surprise segment. Who has more fantasy points on the year? All right, so this segment, it's going to be a quiz. So you're just going to guess who has more fantasy points on the year. And it's players that are on your team versus someone that's similar around them. So, I did do a tricky one here. There's one that's not very close. But you'll have to see. You'll have to guess who has more fantasy points on the entire season up to this point. So the first one is, does Kyler Murray or Geno Smith have more fantasy points on the season?
Oh, man.
And this is our league settings. So
Kyler Murray doesn't have a lot of points. I don't remember whose team Smith is on.
On the Seahawks. Geno Smith is on the Seahawks.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean in terms of the 12 teams.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, actually, I don't know. I think he might be a free agent now. I don't think anyone has him.
So I'll say Kyler Murray, but I think I'm wrong.
You are wrong. It's Geno Smith has the 11th most fantasy points, and RickNolle has him. So Rick has him.
Oh, that's why he's either on the bench. Okay. That's why.
So he has 216.2 fantasy points on the year, and Kyler Murray has 213.9 fantasy points. Kyler Murray is the 12th quarterback on the year. So, yeah.
Well, I'm 12th place. No, it hasn't been.
No, not a great year. This next one is more fun for you, though. It's, does Brian Robinson have more points, or does Kareem Hunt have more points, more fantasy points on the year?
Brian Robinson.
You are correct. Brian Robinson has 143.5 fantasy points, which is 26th among running backs. And then Kareem Hunt has 127.7, so he's 30th among running backs. So he's not that far behind. So yeah, I mean,
where their places and all the running backs kind of tells you where I am then.
Yeah, and I mean, Brian Robinson did get hurt too, so and then Kareem Hunt didn't play the whole year, so it's like they both had solid weeks. It's just inconsistent, we'll say that. Now there is one player that is, I don't know, it was pretty surprising for me, and that is, does Lad McConkey have more points or Malik Neighbors?
I don't know. Neighbors. Let's see.
Is the rookie? Don't look. If you're gonna look it up, you're gonna find the answer.
Oh, yeah. You think I'd find the answer? Are you kidding me?
Neighbors, though, is on the Giants, number one receiver on the Giants. Superstar rookie. Obviously.
Well, you know what? My memory is that he was talked about a lot, so I'm going to say him.
Who? Malik Neighbors?
Yes.
Well, you are correct, but it's actually very close. Malik Neighbors is the 12th wide receiver overall with 173.2 points, but Ladd McConkey is the 13th wide receiver overall with 172.5 points. So he's right there, and I think a lot of people don't realize how good Ladd McConkey has been, especially these last couple weeks, because he didn't really play at the beginning of the year that much, and he's kind of just had these crazy games. He had that one 30-point game on your bench. And then
and he's done it while he's been injured. Now he's dealing with 2 injuries. But I guess he's like the ever ready bunny. He just keeps on ticking.
The ever ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ever ready bunny, yes.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, he's been doing well, even with injuries. So
yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So yeah, that was who has more fantasy points on the year. Fun little quiz I thought we'd do because it's near the end of the season. I thought you'd enjoy that. Hopefully people playing at home also enjoyed that. Got to find out some weird rankings that I don't think most people would expect Ladd McConkey to be the wide receiver 13 on the year. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, I guess we can get right back into it. Go right back into the matchups, and we can just talk about this week's matchups real quick. We don't have to go into too much detail, but I this week am playing TAC 1421, and I am projected to win. TAC does have a lot of buys, even so many buys that he doesn't have a starting running back right now. So we'll see if he picks up a running back. I don't think he will, but we'll see. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to win that, but who knows? His team has randomly gone off sometimes. So
yeah, it's been amazing when it goes off. Really goes off.
Really goes off.
In fact,
he has a chance to make the playoffs too.
Yeah, so. And he's averaging 1.5 points more than you are. So per game, definitely. But yeah.
It's just a pretty unlucky week for him bye week wise. So we'll see what actually happens. But then you are playing Rage Against Weirdos, and he is expected to blow you out. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, his team has been crazy good all year. Your team's been good too, just pretty unlucky, and it looks like this is going to be another unlucky week. So hopefully you can pull out a win. I think that'll be fun. But
it would be fun. I am cautiously optimistic. Very cautiously optimistic.
I do think Rage Against Weirdos probably does deserve a bye too, so we'll just say that. Now the next matchup that's very interesting is RickNolle versus MMC Grath. Pretty tough matchup for MMC Grath. He's been on a losing streak. I don't know. I think he could pull off the win, but I think it would be an upset at this point because Rick's team's been on fire. If Rick wins, though, he gets the bye, so that's kind of all he needs to happen. MMC Grath, if he wins, he makes the playoffs. He should make the playoffs either way, but I think he's definitely sweating it. There's definitely a chance. So it's non-zero chance he doesn't make the playoffs, and that would just sting based on the season he's had. I think he definitely should be one of the playoff teams at this point. So
it's interesting on Rick's team that his running backs are much stronger than his wide receivers this week.
Yeah, I think it's buys
because he has 2 that are buys. Yeah, and then another one that's doubtful to play. Yeah. So his 3 wide receivers on the bench, and then he has 2 that are in injured reserve. But he's got his flex players are both running backs, and they're predicted to do pretty well.
I just think it's very impressive that he's managed to get the 1 seed with Tank Dell on his team because Tank Dell has been so bad this year, and I know I did offer him a trade where I was trying to get Tank Dell,
Are you glad you didn't get it?
No, because I think I was trading away Brandon Ayuk, so because he got injured, it actually wouldn't have mattered. But
would have been bad either
so
way.
Bad. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, overall, I would just say that I think Rick's team is probably going to win this one and probably secure the 1 seed. But there's a chance. Like, it's not. I think this one is probably going to be closer than my matchup, I would say. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. No clue what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The next matchup is Naples versus Pawninq. And this one, again, projected pretty far apart. Really buys and then also the injury for Naples. But I think he does have a chance. I think it would probably be unlikely, but Pawninq has a couple players playing the Jets. So if their defense does good randomly this week, I don't know. I think there's definitely a chance. There's some people that are questionable too. So, and they all play Monday. So it's like there's definitely a chance he doesn't have a replacement for those guys on Monday.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had 3 questionables on his lineup.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to say the least. I think that game could be close. But realistically, I do think Pawninq's going to win and secure that playoff spot. I think that would be. I think his team's been doing so good recently that I really think he should probably be in the playoffs because I think he could upset one of like the 4 seed or the 3 seed. But I think he has a chance if he makes the playoffs. So definitely, I prefer like the teams that are doing good to make the playoffs recently.
Yeah, even though, you like to give them,
Yeah, like I want to make the playoffs. I don't think it would be good for like the, like I think I would just lose right away if I made the playoffs. So
you'd fall flat on your face.
Yeah,
and I'm being nice when I say that.
You're being very nice when you say that. Next though is KMoneyTheRichOG versus Brooke, and KMoney has a low projected point total, but I think that's because he hasn't changed all his buy players out yet.
He's got 2 buys still.
Yeah, because if he loses, there's a good chance he gets passed by someone else because he has less points than all the 6 and 7 teams. So if he loses, one of those 6 and 7 teams is going to... I mean, Brooke would pass him right away if Brooke wins. So there's a real shot he doesn't make the playoffs.
He only has 1 player on his bench who can go in for the 2 people who are on bye. And that person can only go in the flex spot. And they don't have anyone, doesn't have anyone for the tight end. So
so he's going to have to... If he's changes it, he's going to have to pick someone up.
But that's weird because there got to be someone in the that's available on the tight ends.
Yeah, and I mean his team has been doing so good. It would be, I wouldn't say a crime because I think Brooke's team's also been doing good. So I think this one's the most important game though. I would say because this is like a playoff game before the playoffs. Like it's like a play-in game. I think that's the plans for like the NBA where they have playoffs before the playoffs. This is what that is because if you win, you're in, and if you lose, you're out. So he could pick up. Kincaid's questionable, but he's been practicing all week, and he is projected to get 10 points as a tight end. And then Juwan Johnson, I mean, at least he'd pick up some points. So if Kincaid plays, which I'm not sure if he's playing.
But there's other ones too, so it doesn't have to do those. Yeah.
I mean, it's he has options. We'll say that. Not sure what he's going to do. I'm guessing he's going to change his lineup. He's changed it. I think every, if not most weeks. I think there's been a couple weeks where he missed out on a player last minute who got hurt. But in general, he's changed the lineup every week. So I think he's going to change it. And that's a crucial game. That's because if K-Money loses, that also opens the way for a lot of other 6 and 7 teams because then there's 2 spots they can get. So, I think it's going to be a huge playoff game. the last matchup is JennWeng versus Danbledore, and this one obviously huge for Dan. He's got to have kind of a miracle because he's only one spot above me, and he's like he has the least amount of points for the 6 and 7 teams. So, but he does have more points than K Money. So if K Money loses, he only has to have one, or I think it's two other 6 and 7 teams lose, and then so he would need Pawn. I don't know. There's like a couple of scenarios. I think the easiest way for him is if Pawn, Brooke, and Tack lose, or if Pawn and Tack lose, and Brooke wins, then he also has a chance. So I guess it doesn't really matter what happens in Brooke's matchup for him. He just needs Pawn and Tack both to lose. So that's going to be a tough challenge, but I mean he does have a chance. It's not I mean I'm projected to beat Tack, so if I beat Tack, I mean he just has to beat Jen. The thing is, Jen is projected to win by a lot. I really do think this is the week that Jen does come back and win again. So I don't know. It's going to be tough for Dan. He's got a chance, but he also has a lot of buys. So
yeah.
I mean, this is a rough one.
Yeah, I don't envy him.
Yeah, I guess overall thoughts, because we kind of talked about all the matchups. Who do you think is gonna? If you had a prediction on who's gonna make the playoffs, list like the 6 teams that you think are gonna make the playoffs.
The 6 teams. Okay.
Yeah, and I guess in order. So you can first place. Who do you think is gonna get first place?
I think Rick will.
Okay,
because I think so. Right up there, though, is going to be Rage Against Weirdos and Jen. So those 3.
Yeah, I think those 3 are kind of locked, and then I agree with the order too.
Yeah, and then we get we have the 2 set. It really depends on who wins with the next 6 people, because above you, people have either won are 6-7 or 7-6, and so it's going to have a lot to do with who wins this week.
Yeah, and I guess my prediction for the rankings, I think it's going to be Rick in first, Rage Against Weirdos in second, Jen in third, and then I actually think Pawn is going to get 4th place. I think MMC Grath is going to get 5th place, and then I think Brooke is going to be in 6th place.
Oh, that would be nice.
That's my prediction. Obviously, if K Money wins, and that would be him in 4th place, and then Brooke wouldn't make it, and then it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's wide open at that point.
Well, that's a big game then, Brooke against K Money.
Yeah, that's a huge game. But I guess the important game for the 6 and 7 teams is the Pawn. Because the 6 and 7 teams, whether K Money wins or Brooke wins, one of them they can pass. Because if Brooke wins, they can pass K Money, and if Brooke loses, they obviously just pass her. So the real important game for Tack and Dan is Pawn. They need Pawn to lose because Pawn has so many more points than them that.
And he's not going to.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to. I mean, that's my prediction. Obviously, if Jim does win, that would be a huge miracle win for the other 6 and 7 teams, and suck for Pawn. Like if Pawn doesn't make the playoffs, I think he would be very upset. So, I'm just incredibly interested what's going to happen this week. I'm excited to see how it plays out because. I don't know. It's kind of like I don't really have that much to gain or lose. Like I'm already out, so I know you're kind of just watching this with me. And it's entertainment. I'm excited. I think Tack has a real chance to win and make the playoffs too. So really, any of the 6 and 7 teams can make it.
Yeah. It really just depends on who of the teams ahead of them wins.
Yeah, and then MMC Grath should make it. I honestly give him like a 90% chance to make the playoffs. It would have to be a disaster for him to lose.
He's
to not make the playoffs. I mean, because he has so many points.
McGrath
is what I mean.
Is playing against Rick this week though.
Yeah, but he has so many points.
I got it.
So he needs. Yeah, he needs he needs to lose, but also to like have Brooke get so many more points.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And like, even if that happens, K Money then falls out. So he would need, essentially, because Brooke is playing K Money, he would have to get passed in points by Pawn and Tack, I think. So Pawn would have to win. So let's say Pawn wins, then MMC Grath falls below Pawn. And let's say Brooke wins, then Brooke goes above MMC Grath, but he'd still be above K Money. So then Tack or Dan would have to win and get a bunch more points than MMC Grath. So it's like, there's so many things that have to go wrong. I just don't think it's possible.
So we're probably looking at our top 6.
Probably.
With they're with one.
I think the Brooke K Money one, that's the one that's completely 50-50 for me. I think both teams have if K Money sets his lineup. If he doesn't set his lineup, Brooke's in the playoffs, and that's huge for her. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. This is going to be fun. There is a chance that Brooke wins and doesn't make the playoffs, and that's like the slimmest of margins. Essentially, Brooke beats K Money, and then Tack beats me and also gets more points than Brooke, and that would be very unlikely, but I just want to point that out there in case it does happen, and then Brooke gets mad at me after listening to this and is like, I thought I won. What the heck? There is a chance, okay? I'm just saying.
You can't ever say
never.
You can't,
Yeah. But yeah, hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you for coming on. Every time, I just want to say, every podcast guest I've had on, I really appreciate the time and effort they take out of the day. I know it's like kind of inconvenient sometimes, but I appreciate everyone that comes on. I know some people have been on more than others, but really, like, Pawn, a person that I've never met or talked to, it's just so cool that he came on. Tack came on, Brooke came on, and then you came on. So all of you guests, I've really appreciated the time and effort you've put. Everyone listening, thank you for listening. And then, yeah, hopefully you enjoy this new format. I'm definitely cutting it back a little bit because the old editing time, it would just take like 6 hours to do. So, yeah, hoping it doesn't take that long this time. So, yeah. I'll let you know, though.
Have a good football weekend.
Peace.